Did US strikes destroy Iran's nuclear program? The US bombed 3 of Iran's nuclear sites on Saturday. Naturally, Trump was characteristically humble about the impact.
The strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
But how accurate is this claim? Senior US and Israeli officials later seemed to walk back Trump's comments, saying the strikes did extremely severe damage to Iran's nuclear facilities at Natanz, Fordow, and Isfahan. But they were likely not destroyed, and the full damage was yet to be seen. Iran's leadership had reportedly evacuated these sites ahead of time and hidden 400 kilograms of highly enriched uranium elsewhere. This uranium was enriched at 60%, a small gap away from the weapons-grade level of 90%, and enough for 9 or 10 atomic bombs. As officials debate the damage, attention has now turned to how Iran might respond. Trump has threatened more strikes on the country if peace does not come quickly. But senior Iranian officials said that the US notified them of the strikes beforehand, saying on Saturday that the strikes were a one-off and that they did not want an all-out war. Trump might be hoping Iran returns the favor and limits its reaction to a symbolic retaliation on US bases in the region. This is what happened after the killing of General Qasem Soleimani in 2020, when Iran gave warning before attacking US bases in Iraq, ensuring no troops were killed but giving it a face-saving way out. Iran has also said no American civilian or military personnel in the region are safe. But Trump still seems to believe the strikes will force Iran to return to negotiations and accept its demands of zero enrichment. Whether it will actually do so is debatable. Iran's leadership is especially vulnerable. It has lost many of its military commanders, nuclear scientists, allied militias, air defenses, and taken heavy damage to its nuclear sites. It can no longer deter direct US-Israeli attacks on its soil, and it may feel its nuclear program is its only card left to play to protect its government from collapse. After all, nuclear weapons are what deter the US from entering direct conflict with Russia or North Korea. On the other hand, Libya agreed to give up its weapons of mass destruction only for the US to attack years later. Iran is at the most dangerous point of this dilemma. Its enemies fear it is about to obtain nuclear weapons, yet they also see it as uniquely weak, making now the best time to attack before it's too late. The US also said the same about Iraq in 2003, incorrectly arguing it was developing WMDs and that this program posed an imminent threat to the US. With Saddam's leadership weakened and isolated after his failed invasion of Kuwait, the US felt that the time was ripe to act. To avoid Iraq's fate, critics warned Iran may try to race to a bomb, especially since Trump and Israeli leaders have started discussing potential regime change. Libya only agreed to give up its WMD program in 2003 because it saw Saddam Hussein was overthrown for allegedly refusing to do so, and the US said it would not try to topple Gaddafi in return. It ended up intervening despite its promises. But repeated pressure on Iraq, bombing in 1981, sanctions in 1990, bombing again in 1998, and growing threats in 2003 did not convince Saddam Hussein to meet UN monitoring requirements. And past US-Israeli attempts to sabotage Iran's nuclear program have only made it more determined to protect it over the years. Now, Netanyahu has openly said regime change could be possible. In a Truth Social post on Sunday, Trump then asked why wouldn't there be a regime change, calling to make Iran great again. Regime change is a long shot. Netanyahu himself said Israel is very close to achieving its war aims in Iran and does not want to enter a long war of attrition that would erase the value of his tactical achievements. Many have warned that political instability in Iran could simply lead to a more hardline faction of the IRGC or its besieged militia taking control. But Trump has abandoned nuclear diplomacy with Iran twice, once in exiting the JCPOA in 2018 and then again in abandoning nuclear talks in June. So even if the conflict is limited and Iran does agree to re-enter negotiations, will the US, Israel, and Iran be able to find a way to coexist in the region?